So, hey, Mariah.
Hey, Monique.
How are you?
I'm so good today.
I know.
So good.
I'm so excited to be recording today's episode because we have some really amazing women in the studio with us. And this is in our Burnout series. And we know from the book that one of the things that helps women, people in general, get out of that stress response cycle is connections. And this year we did something big and we asked these beautiful, brilliant ladies to join us in something that we're excited to talk about that has to do with connection. So should we chat about it?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yay. Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
And Monique,
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
in each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I'm Monique.
Well, today we are so honored to welcome to the Heart and Soul podcast two really special, amazing women in both of our lives. Like they were before this year, but now we're all at a whole new level. So we have Angela Stoke and Laurie Peterson joining us on the couch today, on the pink couch.
They're snuggling up.
And these two, let me give a little backstory.
Yes, please do.
And here it is. Okay. I called Monique last spring, about this time last spring.
Yeah.
I was driving in my car and I just had this like burst from the universe. I don't even know. It was a download. And sometimes I just do this. I just call her up and I'm like, I just have to tell you something and say it out loud so that I can get off my chest and we can maybe do something with it in the future. And I said, Monique, had an idea that like, you know, a lot of really amazing women and I know a lot of really amazing women and like we should plan something whereby they could meet each other. Like that was the basis.
Yes.
And the next one other step I took it from there in my mind was I would want them to leave that meeting feeling they had met one person, had one conversation that made their day, changed their life, like that it was a powerful takeaway.
Yes.
And I just thought if we got these people together, we gave them any sort of prompt to talk amongst themselves, really good things could happen.
Yes.
And I don't know that I can pinpoint that what it was being driven by for myself at that time, but I have to imagine I was yearning for some sort of connection, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like I just felt the need to gather, I guess. So I said this to you and you agreed. We typically are on the same wavelength about things. But then we both got really busy, right? And we know that an idea, it needs a certain level of, it needs the universe to decide its time.
Yes.
And it wasn't time for us then to like really do anything big with it.
Right.
Okay, then you tell what happened next.
Okay, so fast forward. These two lovely ladies I think we were at my house and we were having a work sesh. The three of us are coaches and we're like solopreneuring it out here. And we're like, let's get together and like, let's brainstorm and work together. Right. And make sense. Just on some back end stuff, whatever. What are your goals? Ange is amazing about that. What do you need to accomplish today? And so we were reaping the benefit, right, Laurie? And we were just talking about missing connections. I don't even know how the conversation came up. You guys can maybe, but somehow it came up and I was like, oh, Mariah had this idea. Let me just see if she's available because she wasn't there and she had been invited. She was busy. She had a meeting or something. I was like, let me just call her. And I called the White House.
You went to the bat phone and Got me right on.
The bat signal.
I answered. It's rare.
Yeah, right.
I usually answer your calls.
Yeah, you do. Anyways, I digress. I just said, hey, how do you feel about, roping these two into your plan? And they seem to be in the same spot we were in. And so anyways, you were on board.
Oh, it was
These guys were
instant.
totally on board. And the universe just responded because it just kind of evolved naturally.
Yeah. So in your conversation,
Yes.
I'd identified you two were also craving some sort of connection with other women. And it was such an instantaneous, like, hell yes from me
Yes.
that then the four of us embarked last fall on a journey
Yes.
to create a group, a new, I don't know what we've been calling it, a new form of networking per se for women in our community through our networks, merging all of our networks and to create a space for women to gather and connect.
Mm-hmm.
And thus was born an organization company that the four of us formed called LEAP. LEAP stands for Leaders, Entrepreneurs, and Professionals.
Mm-hmm.
LEAP Duluth, being that it's founded here where we live and takes place here. And we're now about to host our 5th LEAP meeting. So all of this came together quickly once the stars were aligned. And the four of us embarked on hosting these really amazing, magical, life-changing events for women in our community. And we've had a consistent 30 to 40 members or guests each time participating, and some really, really cool things have happened. So enough about us.
Yes.
Having you here today is about sharing that experience and also talking about what were you craving at that time? What has connection since brought to you? And we just really want to talk about what that experience has been like and some of the things that we've experienced and learned. So first, introduce yourselves a little better, because we're just like, yeah, it's Ange and Laurie, but share with the listeners
don't know you maybe
who you are.
Yes.
And we should at the end maybe chime in about like how we all know each other.
Yes.
Sometimes we start with that, but like we're in deep now.
We're so excited about this. So we just want to talk about LEAP.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ange.
Well, I'll say that what's fascinating is while you were wherever you were thinking, hey, I really want to do this thing, I'm going to call Monique, and I'm just got a little download from the universe. At some point, I don't even know when, before I even started having work days with this one over here and this one over here, I was like, you know what I really need? I really need to be surrounded by people who are doing what I do, who can lift me, who I'm not necessarily helping. Because I have lots of conversations where I'm helping lift someone else, and I'm very focused on them, what's best for them, what needs to happen next for them. And it's not necessarily lifting me, although I enjoy it so much. It's my work.
Yeah, but it's different.
I needed to be surrounded by people who were in the same space I was in. And there's not a lot of people in Duluth, Minnesota that are doing quite the same thing, that are in this space. It's not a widely populated space. Yes, there's some people in it, but it's not. Anyway, so I hadn't found it particularly simple to just meet some other coaches and work, and same with her. And I don't even know how we
had a conversation about it or something.
It would just be so nice. And so then I started working with her, and then you came, and then we started having this conversation. And I mean, it was literally like chick, 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 like all these things happened.
Yeah.
And then she called you, and it was just like, and it's done, and here's the name, and when
I
are we
think
going
the
to meet
domain
about
was
it?
bought within like 5 minutes or something like that.
I'm like, what?
You did. You
You
bought
took
the
a-
domain right then.
You
We
took
came
a
up
page
with the
out of
name
my
really
book.
quick.
Yes.
Yeah,
Came up with the name
there's a
fast.
website. It's real.
It
We're
was
doing
just,
it.
it was very, I would say it was.
So it was like, you got to download on this too.
Oh,
You needed
download.
more connection,
Crazy.
more. Yes.
Yeah. And after COVID, everybody stopped doing all the things together, and it's almost like we're starting over. And so this group that we've created feels so good. I'm Angela Stockey. I'm a coach. I help creative entrepreneurs get really good at being creative entrepreneurs and making money in their creative business while also living a really joyful life. So that's what I'm usually focused on is creatives. And so having a group where we are like LEAP, the group, is a little different than other networking groups because, well, it's all women, and we start with a connection activity, and then we have a short presentation, and then we have another connection activity, and people are connecting. And sometimes like any of us will speak at the beginning of it or in the middle of it. And sometimes we'll have to stop an entire room of women who are completely connecting and having amazing conversations.
Yeah, it's
We'll
powerful.
have to stop them, and I'll just be like, this is the worst feeling ever. I do
That's
not
the hard
wanna
part.
stop.
The
Yes.
hard part is being like, and now we need to calm down. Gotta give you some info. Yeah.
It's felt amazing. The
Yeah.
connection's been so good, at least for me. It's one of the things I definitely needed.
So we just need to take a pause and talk a little bit more about Ange. Ange herself has an amazing podcast. So if you don't listen to her podcast, please do. What is it called?
It's called The Brilliant Creative.
Yes, because
And
yes.
it's all the things that if you're a creative, if you are an interior designer or an artist or a painter or a bagel baker or an ice cream maker
Or a florist.
or a flower shop owner or a florist, anybody who's just got that heart and soul of a creative, and or musicians, like literally the roster is wide and deep of all different kinds of creatives, and creatives have unique strengths, and they
Yes.
also have unique challenges and unique blind spots.
Yes.
But they are common to creatives. So being an expert in the creative industry, I had a flower shop for 17 years. So I've spent a lot of time with lots of creative people, hiring, coaching, helping. I actually had a really great coaching session / podcast episode with Laurie here
Of course.
to really help me kind of winnow down on what I love about my work. And it just goes to, I love creatives. I love talking about creative
Yes.
stuff. I love talking about flowers and opening flower shops. And
You're passionate.
I love interior design, and I love patterns, and I love color palettes, and like, man, I want to talk about this stuff. If you if you want to talk about Harley Davidsons, I'm not as excited about that.
Me neither.
I want to talk about
Well, I know
like
people
art
who would be.
stuff and artsy stuff,
Yeah.
and so I think the point is, boy, the deeper I get into this creative space, the more I just love it. I love
Okay.
helping people in this
So
space.
you also have some kids.
I
Tell us
do.
a little bit about your personal
Okay.
self.
Yeah, personally, I'm
just
married
a
to
little bit.
my love, Chris Stocky. He lives here in Duluth, and then I have 3 kids, and one of them goes to East High School. That's our middle guy. He's Henrik. He's in 11th grade, and he's just lovely. And then we've got a kid at Central Lakes College. He's learning how to use heavy equipment and machinery. He called the other day and said, "Mom, I just drove a semi 35 miles down the road." And I was so excited. I'm like, "Did you take a picture?" He's like, "Absolutely not. You can't have your phone in a semi, Mom. That's just like, you'd get fined X amount of money." I'm like, I'm such a nerd. Anyway, so I was very excited about that. Anyway, he loves what he's doing. He's totally in the right spot. Just lovely. And so that's Colin. And then we've got Leighton, and Leighton and I just got back from Colorado. We were at USASA Nationals. He's a snowboarder, and many members of his team here in Duluth made it to Nationals.
Wow.
And they go there and they place like second and
Wow.
third and
Impressive.
fourth. And
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes they get first. This year, not as many firsts, but boy, a lot of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh in the nation. I mean, it's
Wow.
amazing.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm a boy mom, and man, it's a good time.
It's a good time.
So talking about burnout,
A
might
lot
be
of
like
boys at our house. A lot
That's
of
why
boy
she loves all
stuff.
the pretty things.
Trucks
and flowers.
and skiing. We're
Yeah,
talking
yes.
about trucks and skiing, and there's
Thank
a lot
you.
of sport
I just
equipment.
needed
Yeah.
a little bit more
Mhm.
information
more,
for our
little more,
listeners
little
so
more.
that they know who you are.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. So Laurie, tell us about
Mhm.
yourself. And
My God, it's like, Lord.
I know
Right?
this is my sexy
Yeah,
voice.
love it. Well, hey guys, it's nice to be here. I'm Laurie
Thank
Coda
you.
Peterson, a Duluth native. I've lived here most of my life, left for about 10 years, lived in the Twin Cities, went to college, did the whole 20s thing. And then in the 30s came back to, raise a family here, buy a house, settle down, raise a family.
Yes.
My story about LEAP is very similar to the three of you and what you were saying. So I'll echo all of that.
Okay.
My background though is I worked with women, for women, by women, around women, and I was really craving that female connection of not
Yes.
only creating I felt like there was a gap in the community with our
Mhm.
networking options. But I also felt like there could be a place for me to run with women like you locally. I have it nationally, but you're not in that space all the time.
Yep.
So I think one of my favorite pieces of this connection puzzle is the four of us building this where we could all bring our strengths to it and we could all put our special touches on it.
Yes.
And I really loved that piece of it as
Yes.
well as the trickle down to the greater good and the community piece of it. But I just love running with you guys and having fun and even doing this today. It's just a great time.
It is.
Yeah.
So pause.
Yep.
What is it you do? I mean, you're a coach.
Yeah.
You're a brilliant coach as well. And then a little on your personal. Just got to dig a little deeper.
Okay. So professionally, I am a leadership and development coach, leadership development and sales coach. I've been
Okay.
doing a lot more with leaders. I feel like when you start a business, you start it to sell your widget, sell your service, build the thing,
Yes.
do your business. And then when you're successful at it, all of a sudden you have a team. And then you have a team of 1, and then you have a team of 3, and then you have a team of 10. And you're like, oh my gosh, how do I make sure that we're all rowing the boat in the right direction?
Yes.
And leaders need that support. So that's really my niche, is where I help those leaders that have never, ever led a team be great leaders and be better at getting things done and
So
having fun
needed.
at work.
Yes. So
Yeah.
needed. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And your personal?
And let's see, personally, Chad and I just celebrated 26 years last week.
Ooh, that's a big
Nice.
one.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun.
Congratulations.
And then married for 26 years. Like I said, Chad and I live up at Island Lake, just outside of Duluth. We built our home last year.
Dream
That
home.
was
Yes.
Speaking of burnout, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
And then we have 2 boys. I'm also a boy mom. So Max is 19. He is in the construction world, just having a blast, hanging trusses, learning about framing in high-end homes out in the western part of the state.
Oh.
And then our son, Max, is just finished with his undergraduate degree at Hamlin, and he's in the business world, and also working on being a certified yogi trainer.
Serious?
Isn't that great?
Wow,
do
I
love
like
that.
That's new news this week.
I
so
need to
my
know that.
gosh.
I'm like, oh my
Let's go,
gosh, my
Max.
boy is into yoga. I love it so
That's
much.
I love that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God, your kids are grown up.
I know, he's 22.
3
almost
boy
23.
moms here.
Yep.
Interesting. I'm the
Yep.
odd one out.
You are.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm a hardcore girl mom.
You're
here.
total girl
Yeah.
mom.
Except for your fur boys.
Oh, I have 4 boys. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. Yes.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for a little bit of
Yeah.
a deeper dive so that our listeners have some sort of context as to why these, we have so many similarities just in the work that we do. We're coaches, but also creative spaces. Mariah's in a
Yeah.
creative space, and, and then leadership for you, coaching leaders. So anyways, so it's interesting that you guys were also feeling the pull, and she was just the one who spoke it out loud. And then collectively we just got together and formed this amazing thing.
Yeah, it's interesting as I was listening to you talk about how it's really layered connection too,
Yes.
because it was about the work that the 4 of us began doing together and building and what we were building was for other women to gather and meet and grow their communities and their networks. And so
Yes.
we have gotten to benefit in many ways from this experience. And when we set out to design this, I mean, we kind of just started with the concept, and then we got together over a series of meetings over a few months, and okay, what is our mission? What do we want this to look like? What do you want it to be? And I think something that kept coming forward was we want it to be different, feel different than maybe some of the other gatherings that we've been to in the more networking space, like more traditional format where you're expected to be there at 7 a.m. and go through the script and
Yes.
hit the pitch and give we wanted to find new and different ways to approach this. And so just to tell a little bit more about what we created and how we executed, I think that would be helpful for our listeners. And you can learn more about it on our website. And certainly if you live in the area, it might be something that you're interested in coming and taking a look and hanging out with us for one of our events. But for me, coming from an event perspective, I wanted this gathering to be incredibly intentional, to feel curated and
Yes.
special, and that the people that put it on were thinking of you and thinking of how to make the environment charming or welcoming.
Yes.
That that when you went there, like you felt up leveled in your atmosphere. So that was something that was really important to me, and it was so nice to share that and have all of you immediately agree, right? Like
Yes.
absolutely.
when our values just continued to align in the process, it just made it easy. Each decision is like, yes, that was really refreshing because so often in planning something, I'm always hit with like, it's a budget issue. It's people don't value the same experiential elements. And so to have that on the table to be
Mhm.
able to create these experiences was really important to me. And has been fun to carry out and to see how all of us put different spins on what that looks like and the environments and the location. So we once a month gather with, like I said in the beginning, 30 to 40 women has ultimately been our number, which is
Mhm.
super cool. That's like a really nice like core group. We spend 2 hours, and Ange kind of outlined a little bit of the format, but we were clear with the women from the beginning. We're not going to waste your time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we recognize we all lead
busy.
really busy lives.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to waste
Yeah.
your time. You're going to get in, you're going to get out, and bam, you're going to feel like that was worth it. And so we put a really tight schedule together that we have kept, even when it's hard to shut the conversation down and move on to the
Yes.
next piece. But holding to that schedule has continued to come back from our participants to as a positive.
Mhm.
Like you keep it moving,
Yes.
something fresh around the corner all the time. And then we bring them some unique like networking experience or connection building. That's the better word. Connection building so that they just start to get to know each other. Because you have a room full of women, some know each other, some
Yes.
don't know each other.
Mhm.
So just because I want to hear from all of you, do you want to share about like some of the ways that we have created that connection, the types of activities that we've done? I think it'd be fun to kind of talk about like how we've
Fostered
looked
that.
at this
Yeah.
connection building.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we've done a really good job of is creating that psychological safety
Yes. I
for
love
when
that.
people walk in the room,
Mhm.
they're not going into a networking event. Sometimes can be scary or it can be like, I don't know if I'm even going to know one person
Yes.
here. And so when you walk into a leap event, instantly you feel like, okay, I know where I'm going to sit because we use
Yes.
name tags.
And we greet you at the
And
door. Yes.
yes, even
Yes.
before that, you're right. We
Yes.
greet our guests at the door. They know where they're going to come in. They feel special because they have a name tag.
Mhm.
They feel special, and their brains can kind of relax because we are sitting in spots that someone randomly. It's all
It's a
random.
seating
Mhm.
assignment.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's already set up.
We
So
told
Yes.
there's just so much stress that's taken away when you walk in so that you feel safe.
Yes.
And we all know the neuroscience is there. When you feel safe and you feel like you can relax, then you can get more into that connection piece. You can get
Yes.
more into that collaboration piece and you can be like, this is my people. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
think that's a huge piece that is missing from other
Yep.
venues and other organizations. But also, I just think it just, like you said, elevates everything so nicely.
Yes.
Elevates the experience.
I think too, one thing we talked about when we were designing it and we kind of remind ourselves is these people who are coming, they are leaders, they're owners of businesses, they're CEOs and CFOs, and they're running the show.
Yes.
And honestly, after you've been running the show all day and you've been leading a team all day, the last thing you want to do is go to an event and figure some stuff out and come up with a couple things to talk about with whoever you're sitting next to. And I think this is different because you walk in, you're greeted by either one or two people. Our last event was at the Duluth International Airport. You were greeted by almost 3 people.
Right.
First, somebody at the first floor, then me at the elevator. Hello, if you remember that, everybody.
Yes.
I walked people from the elevator to Monique,
Mhm.
who did the social experiment. We did a social experiment where we took everyone's phone or asked to have
Yes.
your phone put away
Removed.
for the entire time. And boy, everybody seemed to participate
They
and thought it was
did.
helpful.
Surprising.
But what I think would feel good if I was just attending it is I don't really even have to think. It's almost like you're going down a water slide.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
here you go. Here's
Here's your
this.
name
And
tag.
here's your drink. Have a drink.
Mhm.
And here are
Here's
some
snacks.
options.
Yep.
Yep.
There's
Mhm.
alcohol and there's not alcohol. There's some delicious foods. If you're hungry, you don't have to eat if you don't want. And you're going to sit over there and you're going to start by talking about this topic, unless you have a topic that you want to talk about, that you're interested in talking to person next to you. about on your own if you have something. But there's also a little bit of a directive like, hey, we're going to talk about this. And then you immediately get to connect. You do not have to think very hard. You just get to be taken care of. And I remember when I had the flower shop, how running the show and then going to a networking event was a little bit more exhausting. And I'm
Yes.
like, we gotta take care of them. We gotta kind of
Yes.
snuggle these guys up.
Yeah, it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yes.
At the bottom, we need food, shelter, water. Well, Wi-Fi for some people, but then after
one of those people.
but then the next rung is food, shelter, water, and then is safety and security, right? That love and
Yeah.
belonging piece
Yeah.
too, right? Where you can just kind of relax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we've created that psychological safety, that safe container by welcoming them into the environment, choosing environments that are necessarily like unique, warm, cozy, just changing up the vibe. So last month we actually, like Ann said, hosted at the Duluth International Airport. Well, who knew that the best conference room in town is at the airport with this
Wow.
glorious
Good.
view of the
Oh, yeah.
runway. So it was a really neat location. And for that particular topic, because we always have a theme, a speaker, and a topic, I was actually presenting and I wanted the guests to have to think about getting there. I wanted them to have to be conscious that they were going something a little unexpected.
Yes.
That they were kind of
Have I been there before?
yeah,
Where am I
just kind of
going
just
there?
push some
Right.
boundaries around it's not in your typical place. And then deliberately when they got to the door asked to take their phone and put it away for the meeting. We were actively creating these moments of
Mhm. Mini
okay,
experiences.
mini
Right.
experiences, yeah.
Yes.
And then moving into the meeting, we usually do about 20 minutes of just chit chat, right? As people are gathering, they're coming, have a drink, have something to eat. But we intentionally do not have that time period last so long that you start to get, that uncomfortable feeling of and I've run out of something to talk about, or now I need to move on to the next person.
Yes.
Where we keep it moving is saying okay, now everybody take their seats. We're going to progress into the topic. And our topics have ranged anywhere
Mhm.
from Monique presenting on how to lead a heart-centered life.
Mhm.
And Laurie talked about leadership. And the four of us took the first 4 slots to present and speak, really helpfully to just figure out how to run this thing, right?
Yeah.
It
And
was
it's
a big
an
part of
example
it.
for future speakers too.
Yes, exactly. And
Yes.
now we're going to move into a series of speakers, actually group members that we've
Yes.
invited to participate and speak. But it's we create and set that tone from the beginning about what do I need to be doing? Everything is just, you're very much guided. You're guided through
Mhm.
that experience so that when you are talking to somebody and connecting right away, you're just there. You're purely there and engaged. And in that amount of time, I've seen people, been part of, witnessed so many just really quick, amazing conversations and
Yes.
aha moments. And again, a lot of women who didn't even know each other in
They're
our
becoming friends.
relatively small
working
community.
together. Yes.
And remember,
whew.
you guys, here was one of the things. I would say, Monique, do you know so-and-so? And she'd be like, no. And she'd say, do you know so-and-so? And I'd say no. Or the same with you. I'm
Yes.
like, how come because Laurie and I have known each other since 6th grade, 5th grade.
6th or 7th
I love
grade.
that.
I mean, junior
Yeah.
high swimming. So, and then have been friends for so long. And so, but our professional networks don't necessarily
Overlap.
they don't necessarily overlap.
Yeah.
And then I would be talking to Mariah. I mean, this has happened over the years. I've known
Yeah.
Mariah for years. Well, do you know so-and-so? And I would just be like, how do we not know the same people?
Right.
How do we not? And so at some point we were all kind of
Yeah.
saying, what is going on? And wouldn't it be nice if seems like we have an opportunity to connect these 4 really 90 or 80 or 90% different communities
Yes.
with each other. There's enough people that we could invite that let's see what happens.
And in our
Mhm.
first meeting, we did kind of a little bit of a speed meeting,
Dating.
speed dating
Speed dating.
exercise where we had people turn to their neighbors and spend 1 minute or a couple minutes talking and then turn to the other neighbor. And, just showing different ways to create connection quickly, whether it's answering a question or posing a topic. We've did a really cool exercise in Laurie's that she led on leadership, which was a paper tower building, how that brought the table together. We just keep being creative and thinking up these different ways of connecting and getting to know each other and breaking down barriers and nothing lasts too long or takes too much out of you. And I think that has been, again, for women, a real win
Yes.
in the environment that we've been creating.
One of my favorite things that, excuse me, Ange did that was totally spontaneous and wasn't planned was she asked everybody to get up and say what they did and then maybe what they needed help with, either professionally. And at first I was like pausing, like, oh God, we're going down the BNI route, right?
Yeah,
I was like, oh crap. But it was, everybody said that was the exact same thing they needed, which was fantastic. So we took that and we just changed the question every time.
What I thought was interesting about that is that when it first happened, there was almost like a, is this feel like too traditional of a networking moment?
Yes.
Right? But by the end, it felt valuable. Okay, so we walked away from that. And then the four of us talked about it afterwards and recognized there is a need for everyone to get a chance to use their voice.
Yes.
Right? And I think that was like really what it was. Like each person should be seen and heard, and their voice should be just able to, like they should have their moment, right? Their moment to shine. So what we decided to do next with that is like just tweak the ask or the question every meeting to try to get at some other element of life. And it was really fun in the subsequent gathering. We really said, like, we want you to tell us like something you need. Like, what are you looking for right now? Because we all have needs, whether they're at home or work or.
Yes.
I thought it was fascinating, the things that people came up with that they needed and were looking for and how the group responded. So like somebody wanted a walking partner. Somebody wanted help fighting a claim with Delta. Like, and how
That's great.
it's like all the things, like all
Somebody
the things.
wanted a cleaning person.
Yes.
And my cleaning person was there at the meeting. I'm like, hello.
right here.
Yes.
Literally, she's like right here.
Yes.
This person.
Yeah. There were such a range of expressed needs. And as each woman spoke, the whole room was just tuned in to feeling like listening, feeling the need, and then responding to it.
So
And I mean, so much business got done in that probably 15,
Yes.
20 minutes that
Fast.
we invested.
fast, efficient.
Yeah. You know what?
Efficiently.
I'll text you the name of my guy. I need you need a porch guy? I got the guy, right?
So good. It really was. It was very fun. It was so fun to watch that because literally as each woman went, it was like check and next and check
Yes.
and
How
next.
can we solve your problems?
And like you had all these people wanting to solve the problem.
Yes.
It was really magical.
I think.
Did you think it was magical?
I loved it. And I think what it did was it actually helped women feel really good about giving
Yes.
And
We-
receiving.
and
Yes.
receiving too.
Yes.
But we all love to give, and I think that when you can contribute and help someone,
Mm-hmm.
it's really powerful in a large group setting like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really did feel powerful.
Yeah.
The other thing people said that I have heard from 4 different people
Oh, wow.
in that group. I'm really a hand talker. I am. I can't help it.
As Laurie's ducking.
Italian. It's like Grandma Carmen is here with me. I love you, Grandma Carmen. Okay. What I heard from 4 different people at 4 different times is one thing that was helpful was when we have been able to talk to each other in small groups of 4 or 5 people. You guys give us a question and then we talk about it and we all get to talk and we all get to kind of solve each other's problem or
Love it.
some sort of like coaching or like
Peer
helping.
coaching.
Like you said,
Yes.
they want to help. People want to contribute, right?
Yep.
One of the core coaching tenets. People want to contribute with whatever talents they have. And I thought that was fascinating. So yes, I do agree. We can go around like and do 35 people. Hey, here's what I need in 10 or 15 seconds. And then all the people solve the problem. Or whatever the next one that we're having is about horticulture. It's about the 10 tips you want to, be paying attention to when you go to the garden center to have a successful time at the garden center this spring. And so we have this amazing, brilliant horticulturalist, Karen, who I spend a lot of time at the garden center with, actually. She's also a dear friend. Hey, Karen. And so one of the things we were talking about is at the end, having them get in a group of like, they're already going to be sitting in groups of 5 and asking a question about gardening. Like, hey, will you share with your group? What do you love to garden? What's worked really well? What kind of, where do you live? What didn't ever work? And so then they get to share and they get to help each other. And then maybe a person who's never gardened before that wants to start can start some connections around gardening. I mean, I love gardening. Laurie does too. She's a majorly awesome gardener. And then, hello, flower girl over here.
Who doesn't garden?
Who
Remember?
doesn't garden?
Remember?
Just cuts
claim
and
is
makes.
forced to
Only
weed.
cuts and makes.
I'm
Yes.
forced to weed.
And Monique has a smaller yard, but it's darling, and she's got
Darling yard.
good stuff in it.
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
forced to weed it.
And I think this is a great example of how our topics are super varied
Yes.
too, because it's anywhere from gardening to leadership and
Yes.
heart-centered life.
Yes.
And like, we
Time,
want to
yeah.
touch all of the aspects of a woman's life anywhere. And there's something in it for everyone.
Mhm.
Like, whether gardening's your thing or not, you can still come
Take away.
and learn something
Mhm.
because you live somewhere,
And
right?
meet one new person.
And meet
Yes.
one new
Expand
person.
your
Yes.
network.
Yes.
And it's when someone's passionate about what they love, a speaker is passionate, it doesn't hardly matter what it is. You can listen to them and like learn something from them. And I think that's what's been really exciting for the opportunities to just give people podiums to share what they love and what they're passionate about, and have other women connect with, learn from them. And like, I love learning. I think that's all of us. We
Yes.
love
Yeah,
to
for
learn.
sure.
I think that was
and-
one of our missions was
Yes.
to actually have it be an informational learning tool and also helpers, right? Like, oh, you need a bookkeeper? I know a bookkeeper, right? So just to have resources, because it takes so much to just do the things that we need to do in life. And
Mhm.
if we can help each other, let's lighten the load, right?
Yeah, let's cut down branches for each other along the path. I think
Mhm.
one of the coolest parts of LEAP too is our acronym.
Oh,
Yes.
We shift gears a little.
Yes,
I
please.
just love that we are incorporating leaders and entrepreneurs and professionals
Yes.
and just giving each of those women that resonate with those titles a place to meet other women like that.
Yes.
And then, yeah, learn something new each time, whether it's leadership 101 or gardening or time management or goal setting like we did at the start of the year, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
all of
Good
that
fun.
is just, I think, and it's fun to use the acronym. Also, like, okay, what are you working on? What is your next big leap?
Yes, I love that. In a leap year. We didn't
In a-
even
yeah,
know
we
that.
didn't even know that, right? We started in a leap year.
It occurred to me that I should have maybe led with our mission statement, our value statement. So I'm going to read that here because I think that's perfectly ties into what Laurie like the intentionality of what we created around the name. So it's elevating women leaders in our community through intentional networking events focused on education, connection, and inspiration.
Yes.
There it is,
Yay,
folks.
There it is.
There it is, folks.
In a nutshell. It's
That's what we
so
do.
cool to be like, but it's
There's the mission.
happening. We are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the people I've met. We've all met who have met each other in the past 5 months.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And any of us would have been capable of doing it fully on our own.
Oh, sure.
Right? No prob. No prob. I mean,
Right,
you
but-
really could have.
Yes.
Anyone could have done
Makes
it.
me tired thinking about it.
But you're like, that's exhausting. I can't do one more thing. But this has felt like
Yep.
elevating and fluffy and lovely and
I
just
get
moving.
to do this.
Easy.
And yeah, and
Easy.
everyone's brought their
Yes.
talent.
Yes.
Everyone's brought a little bit of time and a massive amount of depth and talent. And
Yeah.
it's just flows. I mean, it's
Yes.
very sort of surprising. Just easy. It's very easy.
I was thinking the same thing, how we could have not, I don't have the capacity. Mariah and I didn't have the capacity. We could have each done it, but it's only because we are all doing this collaboratively together that we were able to get it done. So any of you solopreneurs out there who are like, I mean, we've been solopreneurs for years, right? All of
Right,
us
right.
in our own lanes. Oh, I don't know if I should dip my toe into this whole world of working with other people, because I say throw it out the door and do it, because you don't know until you try it. And it's been fantastic. And we didn't know.
And what we said was, we're going to give this a year.
Right.
Let's give it a year. And then here's the date we're going to assess it. I mean,
Yes.
it's already like planned. And then we can decide, should we do this again, you guys? And I'm pretty sure we're already like, of course we're doing it again. what? I mean, it's already proven to work
Yeah.
well,
Yes.
and people are wanting it and
Yeah.
It's had an
responding
impact.
well. It's had a really good impact.
Yes.
It feels good.
I would also share that we actually created a membership. So that's another layer of we're asking people to commit and join something, to be part of something that where they have skin in the game, and that their membership is, one, they can just decide, I'm doing this. I want to go to all the meetings that I'm able to go to in a year. And so I'm just going to pay the annual fee, and it's a done deal. And that's been just wonderful for people to step forward and say, yeah, after one meeting, I believe in what
Yes.
you created here.
Yeah.
And how many members do we have?
I
20
think we're
plus?
close to 25
25
maybe
members.
30 members.
So that's our base, like knowing like these women have said,
Mhm.
it's valuable enough for me to put my dollars on a monthly meeting and show up and be there. And then we also allow people to come, invite a guest and come and experience it for the first time. And then if they want to come back as a non-member, they have a meeting fee. Perfect. That covers us hosting them.
Right.
And then if they join, halfway through our season, we offer that at a reduced membership rate. But then once a year, we'll approach our members and start the new season of events. And I mean, I think like Ange said, we're already thinking into next year.
Yeah,
Like we have really dialed in on how to produce these events. So we're able to start thinking ahead, which is really exciting. Of how could we grow and expand like what we're able to bring to our members.
And I was going to say, I think Laurie was very intentional with us making sure that this was affordable.
Yeah.
So we crunched the numbers pretty hardcore. Not affordable, but we wanted to be enticing, right?
Mhm.
So do you want to talk about like that a little bit? I just feel like you were spearheading that more than any of us.
Tell me a little bit more about what you remember. So then it'll jog my brain a little more.
I just remember
need a little
I
more
was
of a
like,
lead-in
oh,
on
we
that
should
one.
have the memberships being X amount of dollars. And you're like, I feel like maybe it wasn't just you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
No,
I
it's
just
okay.
felt like you were very mindful of the fact that we need to make this enticing so people want to do it and make it easy to say yes, right? Because we all know there's a lot of times in life when it's a stretch, and it needs to be a stretch, right? I'm sure for a lot of our programs, coaching, whatever, it needs to be a little bit of a stretch and an investment. But this one, while it is an investment, is it's easier to say yes than no at the rate we're at, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we just did a little bit of market analysis, right? Like
Yes.
what's currently happening out there, what's a good value.
Yeah.
And also I think when we put our events together, there's flowers on the table and the lighting is nice and there's
Lovely.
champagne at the door or sparkling cider at the door.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's elevated and a lovely experience. And I would pay money if somebody would do that for me once a
Yes.
month, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we
Right.
did. That's what we're doing for ourselves and for the
Right.
community.
The other thing is, I've been in other marketing groups, not marketing groups,
Networking.
groups. Thank you. And you really want to feel successful. So people are very busy. There's lots on everybody's plates. There's just so much happening. And I remember, again, working a full day, leading a full team, and going to a space and kind of being expected to be there at least once a month, or sometimes twice a month, or even 3 times a month, sometimes 4 times a month, like every week. And I thought, I'm not sure these people have the capacity for that or the need.
Yes.
If I go to so the backstory is we have 8 events a year.
Yeah.
We don't meet in June, July, or August unless you want to come to like the bonus whatever. If we make a bonus something.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Maybe
Maybe
there's
there's like
summer.
There's a bonus.
a bonus summer hang. Am I
guys
hearing
are-
it?
It's a happy hour because you keep wanting happy hour.
I just want to go to happy hour with someone. Come on, let's go to happy hour.
I like
All right,
it.
we'll do happy hour.
Okay. I guess we're having happy hour. Okay, anyway. So the summer is off limits. Everybody go hang out and enjoy the summer
Go
because
to your
again,
cabin.
we
be with
live
your
in
kids.
Minnesota
Yes.
and boy, any sunny day, if you're not outside, you feel like something's wrong. Like
Yeah.
you feel like you
Mhm.
really have to get out and enjoy really good weather when it happens here. And then not in December because December's just, it's pretty full.
It's bananas.
December.
Yeah.
So
We're
our
gonna have
last meeting of
holiday
the
party
year-
in November.
Yeah,
Yes.
holiday
Mhm.
party. Oh my gosh, literally I'm already ready for
Oh,
it.
I'm so excited.
excited. Very excited.
Yeah. It's been a joy to get to produce events like this for me that are like for me, right? Like I'm so often producing events for other people, but this is
Yep.
something that
Yes.
I've invested in and cared about and get to to show what we can do, and but also not have to carry the load myself on something like that, and to be able to work with other talented hostesses. Like, it's just like that comfort is there of like, okay, I don't have to do this alone, which has been really nice. But it's given me a chance to sort of practice and teach and educate some more of the event. Like, there's a book called The Art of Gathering, which I absolutely love. It's just like gathering is about so much more than any little piece. Like, it's intentional. And so we've gotten to kind of experiment with some of that stuff in our gatherings, and that has been very cool.
And one thing I love is after the gathering, we four will gather, or or three of us will gather, and we will like do a rundown, like what happened, what worked, what didn't work,
Yes.
what do we want for next time, what communication are there any gaps, and it's so helpful. I just love looking at it, and so it just gets better and better each time.
It really
Yeah,
does.
it's very collaborative and very efficient.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's just so cool to be sitting here at this point, being able to talk about what it is
What
and
was a
that
thought
it's
a year ago?
happening. And
Yes.
yeah, who knows? Maybe it was a year ago today that
Right?
I called you up and said, let's do something. And we're doing it. We can show the power of collaboration and connection. And we have a Facebook group for our members where they can continue to interact outside of the meetings themselves. And I think this thing has some legs that it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah,
Where they grow.
Yeah, obviously women do need connection.
Yes.
And I feel like we need it with like-minded women. We were craving it, so we created it. We went out and we're like, well, let's do this. Let's talk about the subjects that we all need, that our peers need. Let's get together and like collaborate together. Let's connect together. Let's not feel so lonely, or, let's just not be out there doing it alone. Because, yeah.
And bringing it back around to our series topic of the book Burnout, which has been such a fun series to explore all the different ways to complete the stress cycle. Connection, especially for women, is one of the fastest, most fulfilling ways to complete the stress cycle. And that goes back to the earliest days of humanity in women who would stay back and rear the children with all of the other women as the men went out and hunted. Like, that's sort of the basic biology of it. We have been conditioned in many ways to be together, to gather, to stitch and bitch, to form the knitting circles. Like, through all of history, women have been there gathering together to produce everything, support each other, raise the children. There's so many things that have actually formed the backbone of our society. And part of more independence and more autonomy is a little bit of loss of that connection.
Yes.
And so we have to look at it, say, it's missing. Where can I find it? What are the circles that I can use to bring it back in the like-minded ways that can, like-minded and different, that can both make me feel welcomed and embraced, but also challenge me. And then just, to create those safe, psychologically safe spaces to gather. Like that, we all leave, we're a little less stressed, right? Like, I think people leave those meetings in a better mental headspace than they came in. Actually, I heard that from one of the members
I've
last
heard it
week.
over and over again.
Over and over.
That's
Over and over.
huge. Wow.
Their cortisol levels have gone down. Their dopamine levels have gone up. Serotonin is spiking. Like, all the good stress hormones are at play when you get that hug or you make that connection and you feel helped. And so just seeing how we have already impacted the stress levels of the women in our community, and their ability to fight their own burnout. Damn. Like,
Right.
stuff
Check.
is real.
Box checked.
Yes.
I think that when you come into that meeting, sometimes you are there to participate and add to the LEAP meeting.
Yes.
And we need you there that night because we need your energy, we need your vitality, we need your ideas, we just need your juice, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where maybe you're like, oh, I'm too busy and I'm not sure I should go to the meeting and I got to run kids to practice and all that's important. But I would challenge all of our members and all of our guests to be like, this is the time I should be at that meeting. this is the time where I need
Yes.
the meeting and I need to get there. And so I think it can fill both of those buckets.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful.
And you just never know what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
None of us do, but
Yeah.
it's going to be something.
The other thing is, like, on a grand scale, let's talk about, like, our city. We live in Duluth, Minnesota, and we're connected to a couple other communities, Hermantown and Proctor and Superior
Yeah.
and maybe the
Cloquet.
Range, Cloquet. And so if we are taking females from all these different groups in this space and we're putting them together and we're helping them and kind of helping facilitate really good conversations and creating psychological safety, it knits together a community, like literally through the airwaves, through like people's hearts and their minds and their souls and like everything. It knits together a community, and the fabric of the community gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Literally every meeting we have, the fabric of our community
Yes.
gets stronger, which I love, because wouldn't it be awesome if in, let's say, 3 years or 4 years, there's this kind of vibrant, heart-beating community that can help each other and knows each other, instead of not saying hi to that person that you kind of saw one
Yes.
time at the hockey game. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so, I'm going to go give her a hug. I mean, the more we create or facilitate or help to foster relationships between women, the better our female community will be here. And nothing against men. Hello, I got a house full of
No.
them. I love them.
Right.
I love them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but we're just focusing on this for now. And it feels so good. Like, I can't wait to see what the overall impact is in 3 years.
I feel like men have been doing this in the workplace for a very long time. They have been, oh, I know so-and-so, they are working on this thing, and you're working on a similar project. Let me introduce you to each other, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying women have not done that, but I don't know if we've done it to the level at which they've done it. And it has developed their careers at a large scale. It's time that we do the things that they have been doing and help develop and lift up ourselves, our fellow women, entrepreneurs, business leaders, professionals in their careers as well, and be a resource. And hey, I'm working on this deal, or this is the thing I need help with. And you're gonna remember so-and-so does this, and maybe I'm working on a new project and I can reach out to so-and-so, or Sally needs so-and-so's number, So I think it's high time that these sort of connections and collaborations exist. I'm sure they exist, but I
Exist
think,
in our lives, in our
yes,
community.
yes.
Absolutely.
And it goes to show, like, if you are feeling something is missing, say it out loud to somebody who you trust and who you know shares your values.
Yep.
And see where that goes. And then to two of you, say it out loud. And the more you do that and lean into that feeling of like, I know I need this, I bet I'm not alone, you will find the vehicles to make it happen, and happen fast. Like,
Yes.
the next thing you know, you're full on into your latest business
Right.
endeavor, and you're taping a podcast about it. So it's again, just like, if you are passionate about it, you can do it.
You don't have to do it alone. We are siloed in our society way too much. And so let's de-silo ourselves,
Yeah.
Let's come together and collaborate. And
Well, to wrap up today, if anybody listening is actually in the Duluth area and this sounds like a group that might be a place you'd like to try out and come and meet us and our members and participate, take a look at our website, leapduluth.com, and certainly reach out to us and inquire if you'd like more information about our next gatherings. And then, just encourage people to think about how you can seek out this connection and these relationships in your own communities.
Yep.
Because even if you are not in Duluth, that doesn't mean you couldn't seek this out in your own worlds.
right.
Absolutely.
Thank you two for being here today. Like, it's so special to think about how we have all known each other for so long, but in different spheres. And I mean, just all these different worlds where I didn't know Ann Stocky for the longest time and she didn't know Mariah McKechnie, and now we're collaborating is the coolest evolution of just getting to know other women.
Right.
Yeah,
Very true. Very true.
so much.
Thanks for having us, gals. Nice.
Do it again. Cheers, friends. You've just finished another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the show, and if you've loved it, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. You can find links to leave that review in the show notes, where you'll also find other resources that we reference on our show. And if you think a friend could find value in today's episode or any future episodes, please share this episode with them on social media. This is one of the only ways the podcast can organically grow, and we just can't wait to connect with you and all of your besties. You can also find Monique and I on our many social media platforms or our websites, and we're going to leave links to those in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing our hearts and souls with you again next time. With Heart, I'm Mariah.
And with Soul, I'm Monique.